A very good evening to one and all. Ellarigu namaskara and a hearty welcome back to our virtual proficiency badge series. In the series number 1, we did quite a lot of activities on proficiency badge instructions, and also we introduced Scouts Kilo. With the blessings, inspiration and guidance of our State Chief Commissioner Shri PGR Sindhya sir, we have been able to reach out to all the young people in the state and also in the country to make their home a place of learning. As we say, scouting is learning by doing. We impart the skills needed for life. ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಕೌಶಲ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾವೀಣ್ಯತಾ ಪದಕಗಳು ಎನ್ನುವ ವಿಷಯಗಳಿಂದ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. We give you the skills for life through our proficiency badge system. Going ahead with this concept of proficiency badge instructions, as we all know that you have to get your various awards and rewards. For cups and bulbuls, it can be your Pravesh, Prathama Charan, Dvitiya Charan, Tritiya Charan, or for the bulbuls, Rajat Pank, Suvarna Pank. And for Scouts and Guides, you have different sopans, Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, and Rajya Puraskar. During your journey of achieving all these awards, you are supposed to get proficiency badges. So now here it is an opportunity for each one of you to learn about these proficiency badges. And somebody getting 12 proficiency badges, 15 proficiency badges, 25 proficiency badges, you will get different recognition like yellow card, blue card, green card, golden card. And somebody who completes 25 and 50 proficiency badges, you will get a special recognition from none other than our State Chief Commissioner, Shri PGR Sindhya sir. Now, to start the proceedings of today and to give some more insights about these proficiency badges before we start our Gardner proficiency badges, I welcome on screen our State Chief Commissioner, Shri PGR Sindhya sir, to kindly bless our Scouts and Guides.
Thank you, Madhu. My dear children, cubs, bulbuls, scout guides, rovers, rangers, and my respected teachers, and the parents, and the office bearers of the various scout associations in Karnataka and outside Karnataka. In the last 2 years, the education system in the country is disturbed. It is not only disturbed, it has affected a lot for the future of the young men. The regular education department from primary to post-graduation level, they have not been able to conduct classes. Actually, they are depending on virtually. Some of it is conducted, some of it is not conducted, and the syllabus is not completed. And even the examinations, it has been very difficult. That is because of the pandemic situation which has covered all over the world. So friends like Madhu and our office bearers, we all thought that in Scouts Guides, we have to conduct classes virtually, online, and also import the information which we have to the young people online. That is the reason in the last 2 years, we have been conducting our programs and trainings virtually. I am very happy that in our activities of programs and also training, nearly 1 crore of boys and girls scout guides have participated. I would like to congratulate the teachers, the unit leaders, the office bearers, and the parents who have sent their children. So we thought that, as it is said, learning while doing is the best in life. So in scouting, the methodology of teaching is through proficiency badges. As my great friend who is responsible for all these Zoom meetings, online meetings, Mr. Madhusudan said just now, the Scout Skills through Scout Skillo program, we have been importing this knowledge to the youngsters, which is dearer to their heart. Once they learn these skills, they will never forget in their lifetime. This is going to be this knowledge for the lifetime, it will remain with you. ಇದು ಜೀವನದ ತುಂಬಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಲೆ ಇದು. ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ವಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 2-3 ದಿನಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಈ ಪ್ರೊಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ಜಸ್ ನ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. We have been conducting these webinars of proficiency badges at least twice in a week. So today we have a very interesting subject, gardening. Gardening is the one skill which everybody, whether he is a boy or a girl from an urban area or a rural area, they can learn it very easily. And it does not incur extra expenditure at all. The benefits while keeping a small garden in your house, it is unimaginable. Particularly during the COVID period, our youngsters, our everybody, all of us, we have realized the importance of oxygen. As all of you know, the plants give the oxygen. Oxygen was a rare commodity. So when we grow this gardening, learn gardening, and then grow the plants, it is not only oxygen, there are various other things which you get from the benefit, which you are benefited. The mind becomes fresh if you see a flower. The mind becomes fresh if you become a greenery, be it a big place or a small place or your own house. I make an appeal to all the youngsters to learn this gardening skill and start doing at home, which is very, very essential. This will not only create a better atmosphere in your house, your neighbors will see, yes, there is a scout, there is a guide, that's why there is a garden in their house. If you are from a rural area, Gramina Pradesh, your parents and neighbors will be more happy. Bala khushi ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಹುಡುಗ ತೋಟಗಾರಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Whether it is fruits or flowers or greenery, vegetables, everything you can grow these days. Only thing is you should have the preliminary knowledge. To give that knowledge, we are going to conduct not only on gardening. From yesterday, we have actually started this importing the knowledge through webinars online. Today, we have a webinar on gardening. I am sure the inputs which you are going to get, that's going to be very much useful. After you go home, you learn it, write down, and then keep it. Go to your reference library, get more knowledge. Completing this course and getting a certificate is fine, fantastic. It is thrilling. Imagine a certificate which I have seen 50 years back, 40 years back, is very much valued in my life. Similarly, young friends, I am telling you, the e-certificate which you are going to get after attending this webinar, that's going to be a record for your life. Very good memories. As Baden Powell has said, we should make this world better when we leave this world. So this is the best way. Plant one small greenery, make it, and leave this world. Something very great. You are all kids, children who have started your career just now. Please start, not only for the sake of getting a badge, for getting a life skill. I congratulate Mr. Madhusudan Avala, who has really taken a lot of interest in encouraging these webinars, conducting these webinars. I'm also happy our National Assistant Director, Mr. Charat Raj, is with us. There must be many office bearers of our state organization, Prabhakar Bhatt, Manjula, Shambhala, Nagesh Shupur, Lokesh, Gangab Godaji, our respected secretary. There may be many. I congratulate each one of them. I would like to stop at this point so that you can start the gardening badge work. Thank you, Madhusudan. I congratulate you once again. I congratulate all the children and their parents for attending this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your blessings. As you all know that proficiency badges help us to develop our keen interest and also make it a hobby in our lives. And as we start going through it, you also can visit our proficiency badge series, which is available on our YouTube channel, to revisit all the previous webinars that we had. Proficiency badges help you to gain skill in a particular topic or a subject. And this series of proficiency badges will also contribute towards the Scout Skillo. Today's topic is Gardner. For all the Scouts, Guides, Cubs and Bulbuls, we are going to explain you what are the requirements for your Gardner proficiency badges and how to earn it and how to write your logbook. See, in your logbook, when you start writing the proficiency badges, on the first page, you will write all the requirements given to you as per APRO Part 2 and Part 3, and then start writing your proficiency badges. To introduce you about today's proficiency badge and give you more details on it, I welcome on screen Amulya Bhatt, who is a Raju Puraskar guide, and she's also worked as a badge instructor previously, and she has a goal of doing at least 25 proficiency badge instructions. And my dear Scouts, Guides, Cubs, Bulbuls, even you want to be a badge instructors, you can type and leave your name on the chat box telling that you want to be a badge instructors. Tomorrow you can be here on the screen doing a proficiency badge. ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದ್ರೆ, if you have any questions during the time of this webinar, you can go to the Q&A button and put your questions. We will answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. Amulya, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm Amulya Bhatt. So today's proficiency badge will be Gardner. So we'll go through the requirements for both Cubs and Bulbuls and Scouts and Guides. And before we start that, we will see some of the basic information that we will be needing about gardening. So first of all, what is meant by gardening? Gardening means laying out and taking care of a plot of ground that is devoted partially or completely to growing a plant. Now, a plant can be a herb, shrub, a tree, some vegetables, fruits or flowers. You can grow anything. The basic requirement is that you need to have a plot of ground, or in recent times, it's even enough if you have a pot or a window or anything. So next we will see what are the different types of gardening. So first one is a butterfly garden. Butterfly garden is a very colorful garden that has various flowering plants, and it attracts a lot of butterflies. Next one is a demonstration garden. So demonstration gardens have extension gardens that showcase the local plants and sustainable gardening techniques that we are coming to know in recent times. Next is fruits, vegetables, and herbs garden, where you grow some of the basic requirements that anyone needs. Like you can grow some fruit plant, like trees, like maybe papaya or mango or something like that, and some vegetable plants or herbs and all of those. Next is an organic garden, where you grow everything that you grow is using some kind of organic techniques, probably manure that you make at your house and much more like that. Next is a water garden. Water gardens are gardens which have plants that are grown in water. Then you also have kitchen garden. Kitchen gardens are the gardens that you grow in your house probably in your balcony, or if you have a space next to your house, you grow your plants there, and that is called as a kitchen garden. And one more very popular garden these days is a terrace garden, where you have where you grow the crops or plants on your rooftop or on your terrace in pots, or probably put a layer of soil and grow it there. One more is a window box garden, which is usually inculcated in apartments, where you have a window and a box is attached to the window, and it has soil and manure and all of those, and the plant is grown in that box itself. So can I get the next slide? So now let's see what are the 5 different types of plants. One is herb. Herbs are short plants that you can grow, maybe some leafy vegetables that you take in on a daily basis. So those all classify as herbs. Then you have shrubs, which are a little taller than herbs, but not as tall as trees. Then trees, we all have seen trees, right? They are tall plants. They're extremely tall, and some of them also contain vegetables and fruits, or may be for the purpose of giving shade, or it may have medicinal qualities and much more. Now, climbers are those plants that require a support to grow. So it can be grown around a very long tree, or you can give a wooden stick as support, or anything else that you can give as support, and the climber grows around it. Creepers are the plants that grow on ground. It does not grow tall. It just creeps on the ground and it grows. So can I get the next slide? So we all need to know what is the role of a gardener. Now, if we are only taking care of our own garden, then we are also considered as a gardener. So the responsibility of a gardener is to maintain the beauty of the plants, outdoor grounds, and the trees in that garden. They maintain the trees. They see to that those trees or plants are not infected. They see to that it is given proper cutting. They see to that the fruits or the vegetables are grown properly. So what are the things that a gardener should primarily know? So there are 4 main things. One is pruning, budding, grafting, and manuring. Now let's see what each of these mean one by one. So firstly, what is pruning? Pruning means removal or reduction of parts of plant, tree, or a vine that are not required to the growth or production, or they're not very pleasing to see, or they may be injurious for the health of the plant, or they may be stopping the development of the plant. Now, there are 3 types of pruning. One is thinning cuts. Thinning cuts are done at the end of the branch. So they cut off that branch in case it is not pleasing, or if it is not good for the development of the plant. Next is the heading cut, where only a small part or the small tip of a plant is cut. Then is the reduction cuts, which reduce the entire volume of the plant, and by reducing it, it grows even more. So you can see the images of all the 3 types of pruning below there. So can I get the next slide? So here is a video about what pruning actually means. You can watch it and learn more about it.
Trimming the plant organs like the branches, stems, or even leaves for the sake of your plant's health, and sometimes to maintain plant shape and form. It's a very important task in gardening, especially if you want your plants to perform well, like to promote growth and flowering or fruiting. Another advantage of pruning is it allows you to remove the damaged or infected branches and leaves, which can further spread and cause more damage. In this episode, we'll precisely look into many questions like when to prune which plants, types of pruning, how to prune and why, then pruning tools and many other concepts and tips on pruning. Before we proceed with these topics, first of all, it's important to know that pruning or cutting is actually wounding your plant. So doing it properly is really important. Pruning is actually a plant surgery similar to human or animal surgery, done either to save a plant from disease, and also it makes it look neat and good. Like the surgical wound, pruning also induces a wound or injury at the point of incision, and this wound has to heal properly. So let's begin. The first question is when to prune which plants? Let me start with a comparison. The best time to perform a surgery on a person is when they are in sleep, that is during anesthesia. This is same for plants as well. As a general rule, for most plants, including flowering and fruiting plants, they need to be pruned, especially hard pruning to be done while they are in a period of dormancy. That is, when they are asleep or inactive. This usually falls in late winter through early spring, like in the month of January, depending on your climatic zone. Another reason to perform this surgery in winter is the healing of wound is better in this cold season due to scientific reasons. But some other plants need to be continuously pruned or trimmed. I mean dead-headed or soft pruned to maintain growth and flowering. We shall discuss this shortly. Also remember, you have to disinfect the cutting tools before you start snipping your plants. You can wipe the blades with any household disinfectant, or if you have hydrogen peroxide like 3% or 6%, and this is easily available at your local medical store. Now the next question is types of pruning for house plant. Here we learn hard pruning, soft pruning, rejuvenation pruning, deadheading, and many other useful tips. Well, we'll start with hard pruning and soft pruning. Hard pruning or annual pruning, as I discussed earlier, is done in dormant or inactive growth period of a plant. That is during the late winter or early spring. In hard pruning, we cut off most of the plant stems and branches, at least 50%, to promote all new productive plant growth in the growing season. Whereas in soft pruning, it can be performed any time of the year. Here we just trim the plant to 1/3 or maximum half. The best example is pruning roses. This also includes deadheading. Deadheading means removal of dead or dried flowers from a plant which have just flowered. Sometimes it has to be a constant process, and this diverts the plant energy into new growth and more flowering rather than drying up and consuming this energy into seed formation process. Now the question is how to prune and what are the types of pruning cuts. We'll learn two important cuts here, heading and thinning cuts. Heading is the process of cutting or trimming branch tips. The cut is made anywhere on the branch or stem, just half an inch above a node, where it produces multiple branching, usually 2 branches, and this process makes your plant more bushy in the long run. One very important tip here is the cut is to be made at an angle of 45 degrees to allow water to run off, because if it is a flat cut, water can stay on the top of the wound, which increases the chances of fungal or bacterial infection. It's also a good idea to seal the wound with some stuff like wax, either from a candle or any wax, or even antifungal powder or just anything. Even some recommend Fevicol paste. If you can buy a tree paint or any commercially available pruning sealer, that's still better. Some experts actually say it's better to leave it open and let the plant heal itself, especially for larger trees. Now thinning. This is the process of removing entire branches from the main stem by making a cut at its collar or just outside of the collar. Collar is the area where the branch connects with its main stem. Thinning helps sunlight to penetrate into the interior foliage and promotes good air circulation, and thus avoids fungus and bacterial growth. If you're not sure how to and when to prune a particular plant, I still suggest you do at least soft pruning at least once in its growth cycle. Regarding choosing the right pruning tools, I have a detailed video on the topic. You can check that from a card link at top right corner of this video. I'll also find a link to that video in the description.
Thank you, sir. Can I get the next slide? So now I hope you all understood what pruning is. Now let's see what is budding. So budding is a type of asexual reproduction in which a new organism develops from an outgrown or bud due to cell division at one particular site. The small bulb-like projection coming out from the yeast cell is called as a bud. Now, buds can be formed on the tip of the plant or on the axial parts of the plant. So it just is an outgrown, and inside that mostly there are flowers, and after a few days it blooms. It is a kind of asexual reproduction. So that is called as budding. So next slide. So next is grafting. Grafting is a horticultural technique whereby tissue of plants are joined so as to continue their growth together. The upper part of the combined plant is called as scion, while the lower part is known as rootstock. The success of this joining requires that the vascular tissues grow together. So this is mostly used in rose plants. It's one of the most common techniques to grow rose plants. So what is done is they take a small plant which has got an extensive root system, and they take one more which has an extensive shoot system. So they make a small incision or a cut on the plant with an extensive root system, and that is called as a rootstock. And on top of it, they take a small section of another plant, they cut it on both sides at an angle of 45 degrees. They attach it to the rootstock and they tie a tape, or they tie it together using a thread. After a few days, what happens is these two will grow together, their vascular tissues develop, and they get interlinked. In some cases, this technique is also used to grow two different kinds of flowers or two different colors of rose and all of those in one single plant with one single root. So this is a very happening technique these days, and you can do it at home too. You can give it a shot by taking two small plants, and you can grow different types of plants from it. So next slide. Next is manuring. Manure is the decomposed form of dead plants and animals, which is applied to the soil to increase production. It is a natural form of fertilizer and is cost effective. The human and animal excreta is also used as manure. So instead of fertilizers are basically chemicals that increase the production of fruits or flowers or vegetables, whatever you need from the plant. Instead of using fertilizers, the best way to use it is a manure. Manure is biodegradable and it is a decomposed form of dead plants or animals. And it is eco-friendly, and it also reduces pollution, and it reduces the use of chemicals, and it is not harmful for the plant, and it increases the production by a huge step. So manuring is one of the steps that all gardeners need to know to increase the production and the cost effectiveness of that plant. So now let's see what are the requirements that you need to do in order to earn this Gardner badge. We will start with cups and bulbuls, then we can move on to scouts and guides. So requirements for cups and bulbuls. The first requirement is to take care of a plot of ground not less than 150 square meters for a minimum period of 3 months, and to grow at least 3 kinds of vegetables or flowers on it. Second requirement is to be able to name not less than 4 of each of the following in any area or garden. And the third one is to make a scrapbook of not less than 6 pages by using pressed leaves, flowers or vegetables, and a minimum of 12 subjects needs to be shown. Okay. In case you are staying in a packed town and there is no availability of gardens, or you are not able to grow these things in a garden, but you want to earn the Gardner badge, then there are 2 easier steps that you can do in place of the first and second requirement. You can take care of a window box for 3 months, plant 2 or more perennial plants in that, and take care of it for 3 months. And you can grow 2 of the following, either bulb in water, sand or soil, or mustards, cress peas, melon or beans on a flannel or a blotting paper. Now we'll see the requirements for scouts and guides before going into detail of all of these. So for scouts and guides, the first requirement is to dig a piece of ground not less than 12 square meters, plant and grow successfully 6 kinds of vegetables or flowers from seeds or from cuttings. In case you're staying in places where you cannot dig, then you can grow it in wooden cases or in pots. Know the names of 12 plants pointed out in an ordinary garden. Understand what is meant by pruning, budding, grafting, and manuring. Third requirement is to demonstrate any one of the following: pruning, budding, or grafting. And fourth one is to adopt a public park or a neighbor's courtyard and look after the garden plants for at least 2 months. In case of cities, roof garden is an alternative, so you can use all of these techniques and take care of a roof garden as well. So now let's dive into requirements for cups and bulbuls in detail. The first requirement was to take care of a plot of ground not less than 1.5 square meters. So you can look for a plot of ground with at least 1.5 square meter size. And you can grow various types of vegetables and flowers or fruits in it. And you need to take care of it for at least 3 months. You need to water it, provide it with manure, take care that it does not get any sorts of infections or insects. So we'll see what are some of the easy vegetables and flowers that you can grow in your garden. One is the brinjal plant. So all of these you can get it in form of seeds. You can get it online, or if you go to your nearest nursery, you can get it in form of seeds. You just need to make a small hole in your garden, put these seeds and take care of it for a few days. Then you can eat your homemade and organic vegetables at your house. One easier to grow will be the brinjal chili and lady's finger. With almost, it grows within 15 to 20 days, and you can get the vegetables within that time. Now, talking about flowers, I hope you have seen the hibiscus and rose at your house. Hibiscus is one of the easiest plants to grow. You can get a sapling, or you can also get a seed and you can grow it in your house. Same with the rose. You can either take a small stem cutting from your neighbor, you can borrow it and you can grow it. Or there is dahlia. Dahlia grows with bulbs, so you can borrow a bulb from your neighbor or your friend and you can put it inside the soil and it will also grow on its own. Now let's see the second requirement. You should be able to name not less than 4 of each of the following in any area or garden. It should be trees or shrubs, flowers or vegetables, standing crops, and name 4 common weeds, and be able to use the following tools: spade, fork, shovel, rake, and equivalent local implements. So if you are taken to a garden or a nursery, and if someone points out and asks which plant it is, which tree it is, then you should be able to name it. Now let's do a small activity. This is for both Cubs and Bulbuls and Scouts and Guides. So you can see there are various trees and plants and herbs in this slide. So we'll take the first one. Can someone name what is that tree? You can put it in the chat box. Who knows which is that tree? Yes, I'm getting a lot of inputs. So yeah, it is correct. It's the banyan tree. What about the second one? Below the banyan tree. The second one below the banyan tree. Which tree is that? No, not mayflower, not gulmohar, not mango. No, not oak. No, not apple, not neem. No, not tamarind, not chiku. Okay, I'll just tell the answer. That is the Ashoka tree. It is known for its medical qualities. So the second one below the banyan tree is the Ashoka tree. Now let's go to the tree next to the banyan tree, the third image. Which is that? With red flowers. Yes. Yes, it's the gulmohar. Correct. It's the gulmohar tree. It has red flowers and leaves, so it is a very beautiful tree to look at. What about the one below gulmohar? There are flowers. Which is that? Marigold. Correct. It is the marigold. It is also a kind of flower and it is a short herb. It's not a tree. So it's marigold. What about the one next to gulmohar? Lemon. Correct. Correct. It's the lemon plant. You can grow it in pot or you can put it in your soil and you can have it in your own garden. What about the flower below lemon? Not lily. Yeah, it is jasmine. Jasmine, it is a kind of climber and it is also a very short herb, but it's a climber, not a herb. So it is jasmine. That's right. Good job, everyone. Let's move on to the next topic. What are some of the tools that is required for gardening? This is the second requirement. Third point. One is the spade, shovel, gardening fork, and gardening rake. Can someone tell me some of the uses? Or you can name some more gardening tools that are used in a garden. You can put it in the chat box. Spade, yes. Pliers, correct. What else? Cutter, yeah. Spade is used to dig, correct. Pliers, cutter, hoe, yeah. Correct. Grass cutter, cutter. Why do we use a gardening fork? Anyone? Scissors, yeah. Watering basket, correct. Anyone knows why do we use a gardening fork? Is used to mix the soil. Correct. And what about gardening rake? Sprinkler. Yeah. Wheelbarrow. Correct. Insecticides is not recommended, and fertilizers too. Instead of fertilizers, you can use manures. It's much more eco-friendly. Scrapers. Yeah. Rake is used to clean the soil. Rake is used, yes, it is used to clean the soil, and most importantly, it is used to plow. When it is a small piece of land, you can use a rake and you can plow using it. Okay, very good job, everyone. Next slide. So next one is a very interesting requirement where you need to make a scrapbook of not less than 6 pages of pressed leaves, flowers, or vegetables. So what you can do is you can make a book of 6 pages, and you can pluck leaves, dry it, and press it. You can keep it in between your books and press it, or you can take a few flowers, like it may be rose or it may be hibiscus, press it in between your books. Once it dries, you can stick it in your scrapbook and it becomes a very beautiful scrapbook. So you need to make a scrapbook of at least 6 pages, and you need to show at least 12 subjects in it. 12 subjects, like 12, you can take 12 flowers or 6 flowers and 6 leaves, or all 6 leaves, or you can take some of the vegetables, you can press it and you can show it. Correct. Gardening trowel is also right. So that is the third requirement. So now let's see what you can do in place of the first and second requirement if you don't have a garden available, or in case you stay in packed towns. So these are the alternatives for it. Okay, so the first one is to care for a window basket for at least 3 months, and you can put 2 or more perennial plants in pots. So you can either take a window box. You can see in the images that is a window box. So when you have a window, you can attach this box just below the window, and you can put a few perennial plants in it. You can put creepers in it or droopers in it. So it gives a very beautiful look to your house also, and it is one of the ways you can do gardening if you don't have a plot of land. Or you can use pots, and you can put 2 or more perennial plants in pots. You can keep it in your terrace or in your balcony, and you can take care of that too. Okay, so the next slide. Now the second one is to grow any 2 of the following. One is bulb in water, sand, or soil, and the second one is mustards, cress, peas, melon, or beans, or flannel or blotting paper. Can someone give me one example of bulb? There is a very common example of bulb. Anyone? Onion, correct. So onion is a bulb. Okay, so what, in case if you want to grow an onion, you just need to take one onion, dig a hole, and put the onion inside the soil, and it grows on its own. So you can, even dahlia is a bulb, as I already mentioned. So I'm sorry, brinjal is not a bulb. Okay, so you can grow these in either water or in soil or in sand. So you just need to grow it and take care of it for 3 to 6 months. Now the second one is to grow mustard, cress, peas, or melon in flannel or a blotting paper. So blotting paper is a very thin sheet that in which your when you keep your seeds, it can grow into small saplings inside that blotting paper or inside that flannel itself, and then you can transfer it to sand or into soil. So that is a blotting paper. So I hope you understood till here, and that pretty much covers the requirements for cups and bulbils. If you have any doubts, you can drop it in the Q&A section. Now let's move on to scouts and guides. So the first requirement is pretty much similar. It is dig a piece of ground not less than 12 square meters, plant and grow successfully 6 kinds of vegetables or flowers from seeds or from cuttings. Now in cities, in case digging is not possible, you can use wooden cases or pots or biodegradable bags, and you can grow your plants inside that. If you have a small piece of land, if you have a ground available, then you can just dig the ground and of not less than 12 square meters, and you can grow various plants like flowering plants or something with fruits, vegetables, etc. You can grow it from seeds or from cuttings. Like you get seeds, like for example, let's say mango, or you can grow rice and all of those with seeds, or you can get small cuttings, like I said, with rose or hibiscus. They grow from stem cuttings as well. If you have your neighbor or your friend has a plant of that particular type, you can take a small piece of stem from them, you can put it in your soil, and it develops roots and shoots. Now, the second requirement is to know the names of 12 plants pointed out in an ordinary garden. So as I already mentioned, same as cups and bulbuls, when taken to a particular garden and pointed out at a particular plant, you should be able to name them, and you should be able to name at least 12 plants. Okay. Now, the second part of the same requirement is to understand the meaning of pruning, budding, grafting, and manuring. So I just explained what is pruning. So what is pruning? Can anyone tell me what is pruning? Pruning. Yes. Cutting more precisely. Yes, cutting off dead or unwanted branches, or the branches, not only branches, but any part of the tree that may be unpleasant to look at, or it might be dangerous for the plant itself, or it may be not allowing the development of the plant. So we'll be cutting out that part of the plant. What is grafting? Grafting? Yes. So grafting means you take two plants, cut it at an, one will be the root part and the other one will be the shoot part. What is the root part called? Rootstock, and the shoot part is called as scion. So the scion is cut at 45-degree angles on both sides, and a small cut is made at the rootstock, and the scion is attached to the rootstock and tied using a tape or using a thread to join both of the plants together, and it produces a hybrid of the two. Okay, that is grafting. And manuring is using dead plants or animals, and also human and animal excreta to produce eco-friendly fertilizers or cost-effective fertilizers to increase the productivity of the plant. So next slide. So the third one is to demonstrate any one of the following: pruning, budding, or grafting. So in this case, you need to perform any one of the three. You need to take photos, and then you need to explain how you did the entire process, how helpful it was, and what are the steps you took, why did you choose to do it, and all of those. Okay. The fourth one is to adopt a public park or a neighbor's courtyard and look after the garden plants for at least 2 months. So in case you stay in a place where there are no courtyards or near you, you can use roof garden as an alternative. So you can go to a public park and you can talk to the administrator, and you can tell that you will take care of that place for 2 months, or you can take care of your neighbor's courtyard, of your neighbor's garden. You can water it daily, manure it, and make sure that it has a proper productiveness, and it also does not get caught by any infections. And the alternative for that, as I mentioned, is a roof garden. You can take care of a roof garden in your apartment or a roof garden of your neighbors, and you can see to that it grows out well. So that covers the requirements for scouts and guides too. Now, if you want the tools required for gardening, you can get an entire set, including gloves, pliers, spade, shovel, rack, fork, etc. You can buy it from online stores for your camping purposes as well. You can go to Amazon, Flipkart, you get an entire set, you can buy it, you can start gardening in your house. You can use pots, or you can use your plot of ground, or you can use window boxes, or you can even have indoor plants at your house. It just gives you a very peaceful atmosphere, and it keeps your mind very calm and peaceful, and also helps you to concentrate according to some of these studies. I hope you all pick up gardening as your hobby or as a passion, and do complete your logbook and write the same, and write about your experience too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amulya. Now we will just see if we have any questions. If you have any questions, you can put the questions on the Q&A button. The very first question is, Keshav Rajkumar is asking, when do we get the badge? Keshav, you will get the badge once you start working on the Gardner Proficiency badge today. You can contact your Scoutmaster or Cub Master. I don't know if you're a Scout or a Cub. Then they will let you know who is the badge examiner. You finish your badge examination and they will help you to get the Proficiency badge. Daivik Keshav is asking, can we get Gardner badge after this session? Daivik, you cannot get the Gardner badge after this session. After this session, what you will get is a certificate that tells that you have attended the badge instruction. You need to complete all the requirements as specified by Amulya given in the APRO. And once you complete all these requirements, then you are eligible to get a Gardner badge. Emma is asking how shrubs are grown. I'll ask Amulya to answer this question.
Sure, sir. So when you say shrubs, it can either be grown again by using seeds or by using stem cutting. Now, for example, if you take a rose plant is grown mostly using stem cutting, but can also be grown using seeds. So if you want to grow a shrub, you can take the seeds of that particular plant, put it in soil, cover it, water it for a few days to get a small bud or a sapling out of it. Or you can just take a stem cutting from another plant, again put it in the soil and wait for it to get an extensive root and shoot system. And once it develops a very good root system, it can absorb water from the soil. And once it develops the shoot system, it'll start flowering or it'll start producing fruits. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Amulya. Dhriti is asking why the Pravesh badge exam, there's an age limit within 10 years for girls. Dhruti, the entry level for guides is 10 years. So after you complete 10 years, you will join as a guide. Further from there, you will complete the requirements of Pravesh, that is minimum of 3 months. After that, you will be eligible to take the Pravesh badge exam conducted by your guide captain. Then we have 2 more questions. I think both the questions, Amulya, you can answer. I'll read out these questions. Kirtana is asking, what is the meaning of pruning? And Mohammed is asking, how can we come to know that we have to prune or cut the plant?
Okay, so I'll start with Kirtana. So pruning is a method of cutting a plant where there is dead branches or leaves, so as to remove off those portions where the plant is dead, or the part of the plant where which can be harmful to the plant, or which can stop the development of the plant, or it may be unpleasing to look at. Now, one more question was, how will we know when to prune or when to cut? As it was mentioned in the video, most of the plants require pruning in order to get a better productiveness. So you can cut it, like there are some which requires annual pruning, like in winters you can cut off some of the branches. That is one type of pruning. Or in some cases there is a dead branch, or a branch has got insects, or it has some kind of infection. If you don't cut off that part of the plant, it is going to spread and it is going to kill the entire plant. So when you see such infections, or if you see that there are insects on that particular branch, or that branch is dead, you can cut off that branch and it will certainly grow back. Or if it is annual pruning, then every year, probably in winters when the plant is dormant, you can cut off some part of the plant, mostly the tips, to reduce its volume, and it will increase the volume in the long run. So after a few days or after a few months, it will grow much better. So that is when you do pruning. And I think when you look at it, you will come to know if it requires pruning or not. But annual pruning is a must for most of the plants.
Thank you, Amulya. Next question, where can we see the video? What is the name of your YouTube channel? Varad J. Thorat and Jayant K. We are sharing the link of our YouTube channel and our social media links on the chat. You can follow that. It is BSG Karnataka. Wherever you go, it is BSG Karnataka. I am a scout. How should I send the photos? Shashank, you can send the photographs. You can prepare your logbook and show the logbook to your unit leaders. And also, after this webinar, you will receive a certificate. When you receive the certificate in that email, you will get a link to upload your photographs as well. For scouts, how many plants we should grow? Sai Bharadwaj is asking. Amulya, if you can answer this.
Yes, sir, sure. So, firstly, I would like to say if you have enough space, grow as many plants as you want. It'll just be helpful for you and also for the environment. But according to the requirements, you need to grow at least six. If you're a scout, then it is 12 plants in a piece of ground of about 12 square meters. You can grow 12 plants, or you can even grow how many ever fits in that plot size, whichever you're picking. So if you have enough pots and if you have enough space to grow plants, grow as many as possible.
Thank you, Amulya. Still, we have many questions. We'll take it one by one. Can we use pots for the first point? Sidwin is asking. Yes, Sidwin, you can use the pots for the first point. There is no problem. Sharanya Tejukumar is asking, if we start doing things from today, when will we get the badge? Sharanya, the minimum requirement for you is to maintain a plot for 3 months. So it is minimum 3 months for you to receive this badge. Okay. Can you explain what is budding once again? Sai Dikshita.
Sure. So budding is a kind of, so bud is a what do you say? Wait. Okay. Budding is a process in asexual reproduction in which there is an outgrowth from the axial parts, that is the side branches of the plant, or from the tips of the plants. So this buds hold flowers, or these flowers that further transfer into fruits or vegetables, or it can normally remain as a flower itself. So they are kind of like, they contain seeds in them that from that seed you can increase the reproduction, or you can take the same seeds and you can grow. So bud is kind of like a bulb that outgrows from the plant, and that process is known as budding.
Thank you, Amulya. Can we get the upload link? Can we get the upload link? Okay. For all the upload link, Swati, Mithun, and others, you will get a certificate in your email after the completion of the webinar. In the email, you'll have the upload links. And also you can visit BSG Karnataka site to get the upload link. There are two similar questions. I think, Amulya, you can answer these two questions. The questions are, one is any alternative for rooftop gardening? And if we don't have direct sunlight in our balcony, what plants can we grow?
So first one, alternative for rooftop gardening, you can do vertical gardening. You can use small pots that you can hang, or if you have a hook, you can hang the plants from that point, or you can use a kitchen garden, or you can plant some of the plants in front of your house and take care of it as well. One more, if you don't have direct sunlight in your balcony or even in your rooftop, there are a few plants that you can grow which do not require sunlight, like do not require much of sunlight. For example, you can take indoor plants, you can grow it with very minimum sunlight as well. For example, the snake plant grows with very minimum sunlight. Even the money plant does not require much of sunlight. So there are much more plants like this. You can Google it out. You can ask your gardener, or you can go to a nursery and you will find it.
Thank you very much, Amulya. We are getting a lot of questions here. This is a question that is coming. Is Bharat Scouts and Guides and NSS safe? This is something apart from this Gardner badge, but still I would like to answer this question, Krupa. Bharat Scouts and Guides is an international movement which is open for young people from 5 years to 25 years, whereas NSS is a national movement which is only open for college-going students. Basil is asking how many minimum pages of logbook you have to write. Minimum logbook iste page anta enu illa. There's nothing like only this many pages you have to answer, but you need to sufficiently complete all the requirements. So for each requirement, it might take 2 or 3 pages. For each proficiency badges, it might take 10 or 15 pages or 20 pages, depending on how you do your proficiency badge. Chinmay is asking, due to network issue, I had a lot of problem. I missed some sessions. Where can I attend this class? You can see the recording of this on our YouTube channel. Again, we will we will share the link on your chat and you can see it. The link is already there. Okay. And now what we are getting is, can rovers do this work? Yes, definitely, Sidraju. Even rovers can do this work, but you don't have a proficiency badge as of it. So you will not be getting the proficiency badge, but definitely you can be part of the Scouts Kilo. Can we grow climbers in the terrace? Question is for Amulya.
Yeah, you can grow climbers in your terrace. For example, I'll just give you an example. There'll be railings at the end of your terrace, so you can grow up a climber in a pot, or when you put a layer of soil, you can grow it there and then allow it to climb on those railings. And for initial support, you can use a wooden stick or any kind of a wooden rod or steel. Don't use steel rods because it gets heated. Use wooden rods instead, and you can put it, and then you can allow the climbers to grow on that or on the railings as well.
Okay, so any more questions? How many plants should bulbuls grow?
Again, the same thing, you can grow as many as you want, the more the better, but according to the requirement, you need to grow at least plants sufficient for 1.5 square meters. So you grow how many ever plants are possible in that area.
Okay, I think now most of the questions are repetitive. I don't think so. We will be answering these questions again. And we will not be providing any contact number of us. Either of the speakers, we are not giving you our contact numbers. If you have any further doubts, you can send us an email or contact your Scoutmaster and Guide Captain. They will be in a position to help you. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಈಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಮುಗಿದ ನಂತರ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ನ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗಿನ ಒಂದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಲಿಂಕ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಲಿಂಕ್, ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನೀವು ಸ್ಕೌಟ್ಸ್ ಕಿಲೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಫಾರ್ ಅಟೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಟುಡೇಸ್ session on proficiency badge instructions. It is a Gardner badge. It is very, very simple badge that you all can do it. And stay tuned. Our next proficiency badge is coming on Friday, same time at 4 o'clock. And everybody will receive your certificates on your email. You will receive the certificates before tonight, 12 p.m. ಇವತ್ತು ರಾತ್ರಿ 12 a.m. ಇವತ್ತು ರಾತ್ರಿ 12 ಗಂಟೆ